Today we're going to be talking about SD cards for your mirrorless camera, like if you're using a Sony camera or a Canon mirrorless camera. And what I want to talk about is the proper way of handling your SD cards so you don't have SD card failure. And one of the biggest things that a lot of people do is, especially like if they have like a Mac or a PC, they have their SD card plugged in, and when they're done, working on the SD card or transferring files or whatnot, or even when you're actually inserting the SD card for the first time, and you want to make sure that when you're done using it and you actually pull it out of your computer or your PC or Mac, if you don't eject the card properly, you will lose your footage, because basically what you're doing is you're corrupting the information on the SD card. And what's going to happen is when you do that, your footage, there's a possibility your footage will get corrupted, or there's a possibility where it's actually not going to read the SD card anymore. So you want to make sure that you properly eject it and make sure that you close everything out, that you save your footage and everything. You don't want to lose anything, because also if there's programs on your PC or Mac using the SD card, like the information on the SD card, and you go and pull that out, basically what you're doing is you're damaging the information on the SD card, or you're basically gonna make the SD card fail on you. So very important. The first time, when I insert an SD card on my PC, the first thing I do is I back up all my files. I transfer my files and I save a copy of everything. And always make it a habit to, before you pull that SD card out, make sure that you eject it properly. Like on PC, it'll actually give you a little pop-up window letting you know that it's safe to remove your SD card, or whatever you have plugged in there. And this pretty much goes with external drives as well. I was watching a video because let me grab one of these. I usually use these guys right here to store my files and everything. These things are awesome. They're very small. Look how thin that is. I have this in the 500 gigabyte, the 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte. I have it in 4 terabytes as well, and it does an amazing job. And recently I was watching a YouTube video. Some lady purchased a 4 terabyte external drive in this one right here, the SanDisk, and it failed on her. And I've owned these drives for years, and they've never failed on me. They've been amazing. I never had any problems. But it's pretty much the same deal with that too. If you don't, take care of it properly, or you just don't eject it properly when you're using it, it's gonna fail on you. And one of the good things too is, if you do that, you can, I have cards where I've had for over six years, and they're still going strong. They haven't failed on me yet, is because I take care of them, and also you want to store your cards when you're not using them. You want to put them in one of these, SD card storage containers. I have a bunch of these. I fill these things up because I have a lot of SD cards, but these are good for storing your cards. You don't want to be storing them without having some kind of like storage for them, because they will get damaged if you're just throwing them in your bag, or you throw a bunch of them in a box or whatever, you're going to damage it. And another thing I want to mention too is when you're handling the SD card, you always want to grab it like this. You don't want to grab and touch these leads right here, because the oils on your hands get on there and it will actually damage them, and it will actually mess up your camera too, because if you're touching this thing and you're putting your oils and stuff on there, and then you're putting it in your camera, guess what? You're putting that in your camera as well, and that's the thing with these things. You want to store them inside of your inside of here, so that way they stay clean and they don't get dust on them and they don't get dirty, because every time you put this into your camera, you're putting all that junk in your camera as well, you know, and a possibility of, you know, messing up your camera as well. And also, when you purchase an SD card for like this camera right here, I have the Canon EOS R6 Mark II, and that card that I just pulled out of there, I have 2 pro grade cards in there, which are awesome cards. And you always want to go with the V90s, you know. Yeah, they're kind of pricey, you know, but they're very good cards, you know, and they last a long time, and you know you're going to get some really good life out of them. And you know, your chances of the card failing on you is going to be way less than buying one of those cheap cards, you know. Again, I don't want to mention any manufacturers. I don't want to put anybody down, but there are some cards out there that you need to stay away from. Yep, don't cheap out on the SD card. Get a high quality SD card for your camera. You know, all my cameras I use pro grade, and I use the Sony Tough cards because to me those are the best. You know? The iPad, it's a little easier when you're ejecting an SD card or an external drive. On the iPad, as long as you have everything closed out and you don't have any programs using the information on your SD card or external drive, you can just pull it out. You don't have to actually have that extra step to where you have to eject the card first before you pull it out of your computer PC. But the laptop, the iPad has made it easier, so you don't have to worry about that. You know, it's safe if you just pull it out, you know, but make sure that that you don't have any apps on there or anything using the information on the card when you do that, you know, and you'll be good to go. All right, guys, so yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys found this video helpful, if you have any questions, just comment down below and I'll get back to you and answer your question. And if you're not a subscriber yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload my next video. All right, guys, I'm out. Peace.